Ready, ready.
Ready to go. And
Ready to go.
and find some plot holes in Harry Potter.
There are no plot holes in Harry Potter.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
We will see about that. Hey Vane, how's it going?
Welcome to the stream. And hello, everyone else who.
How do you explain the pensieve? How do you explain the Thestrals? How do you explain
The
I can't think
Pensieve.
of anything else though. It can be. I'm just kidding. All that to come and more.
We are good. Doing pretty well this evening.
Oh, a little emoji thing. I was like, what is this in the chat?
It's a thing for the.
I thought someone
chat.
just sent us a heart.
Oh. Yay. This time. I did get your email. I did not respond to it yet, but I just want to let you know I did get your email. And that is very interesting information.
Hey Dan.
Hi Dan.
Also,
Welcome.
I started watching Dan's react. I haven't finished it, but I started watching his reaction to The Lion King. Yeah, you should definitely watch it when you have a chance.
Okay. You're gonna make me laugh.
I'm not gonna say anything. Might make you laugh. Might make you angry. Who knows? After you hear what he said about Scar, my God.
I laugh in the face of danger. Ha 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 ha.
Oma Johnson, hi guys, watching from Sweden. It's 1 a.m. and I can't sleep. Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for joining us from Sweden. That's pretty cool.
I'm sorry you can't sleep. Hopefully we can lull you.
Back to a peaceful slumber.
I don't know how I feel about that. I guess I won't be offended if you fall asleep watching the stream, I guess, but I don't know what that says about our stream.
That we're relaxing.
Yeah, that's what we're going to.
Yeah.
All right. So plot holes in Harry Potter. You say there are none.
I think there are none. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Let's
throw it out there before we get into the plot holes like we have to discuss. Do you guys have any plot holes or any theories that are plot holes that you just like hate to hear? Or some that might just be legit?
I see. Dan is also doing a reaction to the new Lion King. I'll have to watch that one too. I can think of 2 plot holes, and they both take place at the same location.
Oh really? Please do share.
Yeah, we're ready. We figured everyone else could kind of just throw out their stuff, and we'll keep it very loose and laid back as far as discussion and whatever else. Fair enough.
All right. So Snape not having a potion for Nagini's venom while being a potions master. That's a really good one actually, because I haven't heard that one before.
Maybe there is no anti-venom for Nagini's venom.
But why wouldn't there be?
There are not anti-venoms for certain species in the Muggle world, or if there are, it's very, very rare.
Yeah,
So it's possible that Snape, either there isn't one or that he wouldn't have access to it.
I was gonna kind of let you answer this, but don't they say something about it in Saint Mungo's when Arthur's bit about like why they couldn't cure it? Because Arthur is also bitten by Nagini's venom.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Snape was bitten in the neck, so even if there was an anti-venom, I'm pretty sure he would have bled out before the venom had any chance to kill him.
That's also fair. Where he was bitten was also would have had an impact, just like any snake biting a person. It depends on how much venom they inject, where they bite them, if they bite them more than once, and even if Snape did have anti-venom, there's no shot. regardless. Welcome from Denmark. Very cool.
It's like a United Nations meeting up in here. Hello, guys. Welcome.
Dan said the hut on the rock. How did Hagrid fly in, and how did the Dursleys leave?
That is a good question.
Because Hagrid flies in, but
Leaves on the boat.
leaves on the boat.
Do you think he used a port key?
He could have. Hagrid could have used a port key.
Do you think or he knows how to apparate?
No, I don't think so.
I
He was
think.
expelled before he was able to learn how to do it.
Oh, okay. See, I think Hagrid getting there isn't so much a plot hole. It's easy enough to explain. He used magic. There's a lot of ways you can travel with magic that don't require a like broom or flying motorbike. But the Dursleys leaving, that's just kind of funny to think about. You could throw out anything. Did they have to swim? Did they just have to stay there for a week trying to flag down some passing ship?
I also think he could have potentially taken a Thestral.
Could they carry him?
Sure. Maybe Fawkes. Maybe Fawkes flew him there.
Fox. That little guy?
Phoenixes can carry immensely heavy loads. Fawkes carried Harry, Ron, Ginny, and Lockhart.
I still think Hagrid weighs more. Have you seen Hagrid?
But Fawkes could do it.
He could palm a trash can lid.
Dan buys it. Fawkes could do it.
Okay. Oh, it's not canon. We generally don't speak about it. Snape having an anti-venom to Nagini is part of Cursed Child. Oh, maybe that's why people think it's a plot hole. How he survives and works with Professor Hermione or Minister
Hermione.
Minister. What? Wait, what? I haven't read Cursed Child, so Minister Hermione, Professor
Child involves that there is a time turner that did not get destroyed, and Harry's son and Draco's son use the time turner to go back in time, and they end up creating all these alternate timelines where like shit happens, where like Hermione becomes Minister of Magic, but then in another one, like her and Ron don't get together, and she's like miserable and she's awful, and they're just like all these plot lines. Yeah, shit happens.
Oh, okay. See, that I don't like that. We got to leave that out. Otherwise, there's a million and one plot holes in Harry Potter that can't be explained.
Cursed Child is not canon, therefore it doesn't exist. And I mean, somebody up there said that they don't think all the time turners were destroyed. As far as we know, all the time turners were destroyed. That's just, I don't think that's a plot hole. That is just what it is.
Yeah, I guess you could kind of argue it either way because we're never told that they're all destroyed. But I mean, one could have survived. Who knows? Too big for a Thestral.
So if not a Thestral, then Fawkes.
And then how the Dursleys got back, I think it was just a lot of determination and luck.
Yeah. I think they could have flagged someone down.
Or I'm assuming someone owns that place. You know? Probably go in to check on it and there's people there. Or did the Dursleys own it? Like,
a new type of time turner was made so that they could go back more than 6 hours. Either way, it's not canon. Doesn't count.
and yet Melanie's right. In 19 years, they could have made new time turners. They did it once, they can do it again. It's magic, after all. But I feel like we'll be here talking about the Cursed Child the whole time, if not. So, I have one for you.
Okay.
The Thestrals. We've mentioned it before, but we never went into full detail.
Okay.
how Harry couldn't see the Thestrals at the end of Goblet of Fire, but then he could.
Okay,
Now,
so
now I know Rowling like basically gave a reason for it, but do you fully buy it?
I buy it.
You do?
I do, because when it comes to death and processing death, it takes time. And Harry was extremely traumatized by that event. So, um, Harry didn't fully process the death before he left, but over the summer he has the nightmares and the dreams, and he does process the fact that Cedric died. Therefore, by the time he gets back, he has at least processed that Cedric's dead, and he witnessed that death.
What about his parents?
So he was too young to understand his parents' death. So it that doesn't count.
But after he was older with the Dementors, he has flashbacks of it. The
Is that
memory's still there, and then he has time to process it. He understands death at that point.
Yeah, but he didn't witness their
Yeah,
deaths.
he did.
Not in the sense that he
Well, he
witnessed
witnessed his
Cedric's
mother.
death. Also, is that him remembering that, or is that the piece of Voldemort's soul influencing that? Because that piece of Voldemort's soul will have remembered that.
Okay. Okay. That's going a little deep. You kind of cut me off there. I felt like I was on a roll.
Blood on the
And
Rock was owned by some old guy. Somehow that old guy must have rode out to the hut, probably to clean up, to discover them being left behind.
okay, yeah, that's what I mean.
Um,
Like someone
yeah,
probably.
maybe they rented that boat out, and then Hagrid brings the boat back, but the people who rented the boat out are not there. The dude might have some questions and would need to go back.
The better
Anyway,
question is, how did Dudley ever lose his tail?
they went to the hospital and had it removed.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Melanie also brings up a good point about the
Okay.
Thestrals. The movie complicates it because in the movie Harry watches Quirrell die, so people get
I
confused.
just thought of a plot hole right now, actually. So Hagrid does magic with Harry present on the rocks and gives Dudley his tail, starts a fire, does all that. It's Harry's birthday. He's 11 years old. Why did the ministry not sense that? If they could catch Dobby's magic, why
Um,
did they not send someone to investigate that?
he's not technically at school yet. It could
No, but
still
he's
be
11.
right, but he's just turned 11, so the ministry I don't think would go after him because it's his birthday. He's just turned 11. He's finding out about Hogwarts. Up until this point, it could be considered accidental magic. He wasn't being taught magic yet. Once you're being taught magic, that's when the consequences come into play. Prior to, it's accidental, and you can't be held accountable for something you have no control over.
Okay, fair enough. I'll buy that one.
Melanie also says they know he's with Hagrid.
And Hermione uses magic at home, practice spells already when they meet. Yeah, that's true. She does.
And she doesn't get in trouble either because technically she's not being taught. She's not at school yet. I don't think it
Fair
really
enough.
comes into effect until after you've been at Hogwarts because then you know better. And then you can be held accountable for doing magic because you've been learning to control it and you are learning what it is that you're doing.
Okay, you got me there.
I also
Fair
feel
enough.
like the trace is a prejudiced rule that's put in place, and I think that's part of the reason why people have such a problem with it because they don't understand it, because then they say like, why doesn't anyone at the Weasley house get in trouble? But they're a pure blood wizarding family, and as far as the trace is concerned, when it comes to like a pure blood wizarding family, the ministry treats it more as it's on the parents to keep their kids in line versus muggle-born parents and all of that, where they're like, hey, no,
None of that.
yeah,
Wand away, kid.
yeah. But I
Oh,
think it's like supposed to be a symptom of the problems going on with the prejudice.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it, I guess. Snape did explain it in The Prince's Tale. Harry is not. Oh, and yeah, I guess Snape uses magic prior to going to school too. In The
Yeah, he
Prince's Tale.
shows Lily. Yeah, he
Harry's
says
not
it's
school
magic
yet.
what we can do.
All right, all right. Just playing devil's advocate, guys. Come on, calm down. All right, so there were a couple. You really looked into this the other day. So what were some of like the crazy ones?
Okay, so one that I just saw coming up multiple times that actually became quite frustrating is that the entire story could have been avoided if Lily and James had been each other's secret keeper, like Bill and Fleur were each other's secret keeper, instead of trusting someone else.
I mean, that does seem to make sense. So we're okay.
Uh,
What's
Not a plot hole. But
why
I
not?
mean,
Well, it's not. It's
let's
not
hear
a
what
plot
everyone
hole. It's just
else.
kind of like, well, if they could have done it, that probably would have been the smarter move. Just kind
Well,
of dumb
I
they
want to.
didn't.
What does everyone think about that? First and foremost, before I explain why it's a non-issue. I want to hear people's opinion.
Whether or not Harry's parents should have been each other's secret keeper.
Yeah, that's a big thing. They say the whole story is pointless because James and Lily could have just been each other's secret keeper.
They could have been
No,
100%.
but
Wait,
no,
why
they
not?
could. Well, let's wait and see what a
Okay,
couple people have to say first. Um,
I think
before.
that's a valid point. Like,
Well,
just
that's why I want to see what people think. Um, because I'm curious. James's Hufflepuff
side.
side, trusting his friends. Vane thought it the first time he read the books. Okay.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I mean, if Dan's theory is right, that's pretty rough. Bros before hoes, I guess, right? I'm gonna trust my friend before I trust my wife. Good going, James. Jeez.
Bill was secret keeper for the Weasley family, not for he and Fleur. James trusted his friends enough to keep them as secret keeper. He wouldn't think any of them would betray them.
I'm just waiting for you.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go in line with what Melanie is saying. James and Lily could not have been each other's secret keeper because they were the secret to be kept. Bill and Fleur could be each other's secret keeper because the secret was Shell Cottage, the place.
Couldn't they have just?
Digest it for a second.
I thought it was their house that was the secret.
No, it wasn't just, it was them.
Oh, okay. But either
Right, because
either way,
that was the headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix. That's why Dumbledore was the secret keeper.
but either way, why couldn't you? I mean, as long as James kept the secret, no one could find Lily. As long as Lily kept the secret, no one could find James.
I don't think if you're the secret, I don't think you can be the secret keeper.
But you're not the secret. Lily's a secret, and then James is a secret for Lily.
No, the two of them were the secret together.
I know, but they could have done it where just the house was the secret, and then they could have been fine.
The they were the crux of the secret. Where they were, the location ended up being the Potter house.
I'm just saying it could have. The location should have been the secret.
It wasn't though, it was them.
There's a plot hole. Why wasn't the house? Why was them?
Ask Dumbledore. I'm just saying I think that's why Bill and Fleur being each other's secret keeper makes sense because they're just keeping the secret of Shell Cottage as a place, not them being untraceable themselves.
Okay, fair enough.
Welcome, Alonzo.
Alonzo, welcome.
I think parents always have provisions in place in case something happens to one or the other. It doesn't seem that strange to me that they didn't use each other. I think that's also a fair point. If they could have used each other.
Could they have been the secret keeper for Harry though? Like even if someone ratted on them, then Voldemort couldn't find Harry? I mean, if it was me, that's what I would do. You know, Inception style, redundancy, layers, like an
Layers.
ogre. Like, okay, you found me, but you will never find my child.
Right. Voldy could be looking inside the Potter's living room window and not see them. Therefore, the house is not the secret.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that line, didn't I?
They are the secret.
Yeah. Okay, you got me there. But
And I'm sure Harry
they
was
should have
part
had
of
that
that, though.
redundancy in place where Harry was their secret.
Another Fidelius charm.
Yeah.
I would assume that Harry was worked into. Well, Harry
The
was already part
doubless.
of it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have done that. I would have done if it was me.
Oh, I see.
Would have done James and Lily, Sirius, and then Harry would have been James and Lily's secret.
I get what you mean.
That way, even if they find James and Lily,
He wouldn't be able to find Harry.
exactly. I mean, if it was really me, I probably would have done like triple Fidelius.
Can you, though? I don't know if that's
I don't
ever
know.
been.
Let's call Leonardo DiCaprio and find out. Does Inception work with magic?
Inception work with magic. That's a different kind of. That's a different kind of charm, though, that they put.
Oh, why was the house invisible until they died? Hmm.
The house is still kind of invisible after they died.
Oh, it doesn't?
Yeah, when Harry and like the Muggles can't see it when Harry and Hermione show up in Godric's Hollow.
Oh, they can't?
Yeah, the Muggles don't.
Oh, okay. So who's the secret keeper for that?
Was the house invisible until they died? Is that stated somewhere?
I don't know. I guess we would have to find out. Do you not know?
I think it would have been
Why not? Hmm.
because the house isn't the secret. And also, the fact that they could be looking through the living room window and still not see them. Like he could have gone to that house a number of times and still not seen them. It's better hiding that way.
I don't know. If the house just doesn't exist, that's pretty good hiding.
I think there are different components of magic for magical houses not being seen. Like Grimmauld Place, I don't think the reason why they couldn't see Grimmauld Place was just because of the Fidelius charm. I think it's also because of other magical enchantments being put on it.
Are you sure? Because all Moody had to do was show Harry a note, and then buildings started moving.
I thought someone put a new charm on the house after the Potters died to keep the house a memorial and to keep it secret from Muggles. Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, it was.
The house
I
is a
actually knew
memorial.
that. I just wanted to play devil's advocate and kind of poke at you a little bit. Okay, so we have that one down. I think we kind of explained that a little bit. They didn't fully plan it out how it should have been, but how it was done, it makes sense. They definitely could have been smarter about it. Was there any other ones you read?
Well, Dylan just said, "What about Sirius buying Harry the firebolt while being a felon on the run?"
That's a good one. I mean, I'm assuming maybe he used Polyjuice Potion to change his identity and
I
buy
think
it?
he says
Or
he
does
sent.
he do like a mail order thing? Use the Muggle net?
I feel like
Amazon?
I feel like if he showed up or sent Crookshanks with a note, hear me out. I'm going somewhere with this. Crookshanks with a note,
Okay.
because Hagrid shows up with a note from Dumbledore about Vault 713, and they did it. I don't think the goblins would care. I think the goblins wouldn't give a shit that it was sent from some wizard on the run. He's their client. They'll give him his money.
I guess as
I
long as
don't
it
think
involves money.
I think the goblins have no love for wizards, but if somebody wants to get their shit out of their vault, I don't think they care. If Sirius sent in a note and the goblin said, "Oh, Sirius Black requesting money out of his vault," I don't think they would contact the ministry. I think they would just do the transaction and not say anything, because relations between the ministry and the goblins are not that great. And they don't like wizards, and I think they don't want to be involved in all of that. And I think the way they stay out of it is to just
And the Blacks are like one of their oldest clients and probably have the most money in the vaults.
they probably have so much money in that vault.
So
Yeah.
they're probably just like, well, we can't really turn them down because there goes like half of our financial budget.
Yeah, money is money to them. I don't think they would care. I think that Sirius sent in a note and they just did what he asked.
Exactly. I agree with that because I could only imagine what the Black's vault looks like.
Probably ridiculous, the amount of gold that's in there and artifacts and all other kinds of stuff. That vault has
Like
probably
we
been
saw
used.
Bellatrix's.
Yeah, and hers had a dragon guardian. Sirius's does too.
I mean, his was probably down there, like right next to hers, because
Yeah,
that's
down
like
there
the
somewhere.
lowest level, right?
Yeah, they went way, way down in there.
So I guess that's the final answer, the final verdict on that. The
That's
goblins just hate the wizards, so they just
Yeah, I don't
it's
think they would
not
have
their
cared.
problem.
Pretty much,
You
yeah.
want money, you get money. I don't really care who you are.
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you're associated with. I don't care what you're doing. This is just business. And the less involved we are with the ministry and all that, the better.
Yeah, money is money.
Mm-hmm.
And Sirius's vault is next to the Stones vault. Wait, who's the Stones? The Rolling Stones?
The Philosopher's Stone.
Oh,
The stone, yeah, from the first book.
forgot about that stone.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas Flamel's vault.
Oh, yeah. That's one I see all the time. How did Fred and George not see Peter Pettigrew on the map?
This was one of the ones I was gonna bring up. I was gonna kind of wait till later. Yeah. How how do you explain this? There's no explaining this one. Other than the
Dave
only
makes a good
thing
point. Why would they be watching Ron in his bed?
just a glance. I mean, they're in Gryffindor Tower. If they look at it, they're gonna see everyone. They're gonna see.
Yeah, but are they, number one, are they really paying attention? They're not looking for other students. They're looking for the teachers on the map.
I mean, I'd like to think Fred and George are observant enough to notice Ron sleeping with a man every night. Or maybe they just didn't want to ask, you know? It's like, whatever, Ron, you do you, whatever makes you happy.
Also, if they did see Peter Pettigrew on the map by Ron, why would they give pause to think about it? They're not looking at the map like they're first of all, like if they're at Hogwarts and they're looking at the map and they see just some dude in Ron's dorm named Peter Pettigrew, they're not going to think twice about it anyway. They don't know who he is.
Yeah, okay, they might not know. But still, he's sleeping. I mean, yeah,
Also,
wouldn't
why
you
are
ask your
they
brother, like, who's Peter? You're like, what? What are you
I
talking
think
about?
so. Also, here's a there
Maybe
could
Fred and George are just dicks. They're just waiting for the perfect moment to spring it on them.
I also saw one explanation could be that maybe the creators of the map added an extra layer of protection so that you could only the creators of the map could see each other on the map. That's a stretch to me. I really think it's just Fred and George were negligent and didn't pay attention. There's no reason for them to be looking at Ron's room. I don't think they ever would. If they open up that map, they're going to be looking at this corridor, this secret passageway, and they're not looking at the students. They're looking for Filch. They're looking for the teachers. I don't think they would think twice about. If anything, they'd maybe be
Looking over
looking
it,
for.
they see Peter Pettigrew, and they're just wondering, like, wait, who is this? Is it a teacher? Is it a new teacher we don't know about?
Why would they? Why would they think that? Though, like, he could be just another student that they don't know.
Because Fred and George are smart and they plan this out.
Plan what out?
Whatever mischief they
Right, but if
deem.
there's like if like Ron is sitting in the dorm room, um if they were all sitting in the dorm room and Fred and George open it up and look at the dorm room and see somebody named Peter Pettigrew sitting in there, they don't they're not going to be like, "Who's that guy?"
Let's see. I see the chat
Yeah,
moving.
also
Let's see.
Harry does not see Peter Pettigrew on the map. That's only in the movie. In the book, Lupin sees Peter Pettigrew on the map. And that's why. Like, that's Lupin sees him on the map.
Was Harry ever around Ron when he opened the map? I don't think so. Do they ever do some late night mischief where he opens the map? Where he may have
You mean
spotted.
in Azkaban?
What?
In Azkaban.
In Azkaban?
In the book.
Oh, yeah.
Azkaban. It
I
would
was
only have been
I was
Azkaban.
gonna say, Harry and Ron never went to Azkaban.
Um, Harry, Harry uses it to get to Honeydukes. I think, like, Harry uses it by himself. Um, I mean, he shows Ron, and Ron's like, "What the heck? My brothers could have given me this. What the heck?" I don't think the name would have stood out to Fred and George, and Harry doesn't see Sirius on the map either. No. So, yeah, it's possible that only the
Doesn't?
Marauders could see each other on the map. It's possible because Lupin sees Peter on the map.
Wait, when would he have seen Sirius on the
No,
map?
someone just asked, Dan asked, does Harry see Sirius on the map?
That's that. I don't think he would ever have the chance to.
He doesn't have the chance to. Sirius is never at Hogwarts for him to look.
Well, he's there when he attacks the fat lady.
Yeah, but Harry doesn't have out the map.
Well, no. But he is in Hogwarts. Like he
Yeah,
is
but
in the
never
school,
when Harry has the map
as
out.
allegedly, as far as we know.
I
So I guess you could just say that
George
friend
probably saw Peter Pettigrew on the map, but didn't think anything of it.
friend
It's
George
just
just
another dude in the common room.
didn't notice. Or I guess a more fun way to think about it is that they would have put a layer of protection so that no one else could know where the Marauders were should it fall into the wrong hands. I'm trying to think if he ever sees, when he's looking at it, does he see Lupin though? I think he sees Lupin, which kind of throws that theory out. When he is going out with the egg and he notices Barty Crouch Jr., I could have sworn he says like he sees Lupin in his office or something like that.
It's the wrong book.
What? Yeah, I know it's Goblet of Fire, but it's the map.
Okay, sorry. I got very confused for a second because you
No,
were
I'm just talking
Barty
about the map
Crouch
in
in his
general.
office.
Yeah,
I
because
see what
he's
you're
looking
saying.
around.
Right.
I thought I remember him seeing Lupin like in his office or something like that. Or no, yeah, Lupin wouldn't be there. No, I guess not. So I guess you
Snape did
could.
see Lupin in Prisoner. That's why he went down to the Whomping Willow.
Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Because Snape goes in to give him his potion, and he's not there, but the map is open.
Yeah. So
And
that theory's out the window. So it has to just be that Fred and George were negligent and didn't notice,
yep,
or they noticed and just thought that Ron had a boyfriend
Mhm.
and was like, "Cool, dude."
I still don't think they would have looked at the dorms too much at all. Like what reason would they have to look at Ron's dorm?
I mean, if it were me when I first got it, I would be testing it out, going around and just looking at every name and seeing,
Yeah,
like,
but I don't
going to that person and seeing, like, oh, it's right. Okay, this person, oh, it's right here.
think Fred and George are like that.
I think they are. We're
I don't.
shown that they are very smart and they think things through.
Right, but they're also how old in this book?
I would say 15, 16, I think.
14.
14.
Yeah. Um yeah, Melanie Loop like he had me tripped up too. Like I thought he was talking about Lupin being in the fourth book too. He wasn't. He was talking about how Harry sees Barty Crouch in his office, and does that happen in 3 with Lupin?
Yeah.
Was what he
It
was
was
saying.
worded really bad.
Yeah, Lupin could definitely have left the map behind. That's not a hole. He sees Peter Pettigrew on the map and totally loses his giblets and takes off. I could see him totally not thinking to do anything and just boop.
Yeah, I don't think that's a plot hole.
I
It's
don't
just
think that's a plot hole either.
more of a convenience for Snape. A way to get Snape down there. Why didn't they give Polyjuice of a Muggle for the Battle of Seven Potters to be a better disguise for everyone? I mean, I guess that's a good question.
They already knew Harry was going to be leaving, right?
Yeah.
So if
So, you do Seven Potters. Why didn't you just have Harry change into someone else and like just random people altogether and then no one knows?
they'll know because they'll know they're all random people and they'll go after all of them anyway.
Yeah, but if everyone is Harry, they're going to go after all of them.
This raises another question. In book 2, could Fred and George have seen Ginny go strange places throughout the school? Not in the chamber itself, though, which would have been unmappable. I mean, they could have, but they also maybe not would have not paid attention to what Ginny was doing. I feel like if they were going to pay attention to what anyone was doing, it would be Percy, and that's it, because Percy's a prefect.
You don't think they'd be looking at ways to get their siblings in trouble?
They
Like,
don't really.
Ginny was hanging out over here, and now there's a big sign written in blood.
Well, Ginny is also
Or
going.
maybe they just saw that, and then they found the sign written in blood, and they're just like, yeah, I'm not going to mess with her. I'm not talking to her today.
I don't think they would have paid enough attention. Also, where's Ginny spending a lot of time? In the girls' bathroom. Like, Fred and George are going to be like, oh, she spends a lot of time in the girls' bathroom, and she's sad a lot. She's being 12, or she's being 11. I don't think it would have. You know what I mean? I don't think the thought would have occurred to them, really. And I also just don't think they're paying attention to her on the map. They have their own friend. Like when they're opening up the map, they're looking for Ginny. They're looking for Lee Jordan. Where's he at? I'm gonna go meet up with Lee Jordan, and we're gonna go do stuff. They're gonna look for their friends. They're gonna look for where are the professors at. They're not looking at Ron and Ginny. If they're looking at anyone, they're looking to find Percy so they can escape from him. I don't think um I don't think that's anything.
All right, fair enough. We're going in circles with this now. Fred and George just didn't care.
Pretty much. Um
So what's the next one you have? Plot hole in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix when the Inquisitor squad starts getting nasty. Fred and George shoves Montague, a member of the squad and the captain of the Slytherin Quidditch team, in the at the time broken vanishing cabinet. Right, Montague ends up being found in one of the Hogwarts toilets days later. I know the cabinet was broken, but still, how did he end up in the toilet?
I don't think that's a plot hole. I think that is a very, very, very unfortunate side effect of broken magic.
Uh, I guess the only thing I could think of is the cabinets created a type of wormhole, and when the end isn't like
Connected.
connected, it just kind of spits you out wherever,
Yeah. I
if
think
it spits you out at all.
yeah, I think Montague got lucky. Like, what if he just got stuck in there forever?
Doesn't he say like he thought he was gonna be stuck in there, and
Yeah.
then he like found a way out, and he ended up in the toilet or something?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a case of just a magical object being broken and like the side effects of broken magic.
Right, that's hard to say it's a plot hole just because you always have that out. It's a magical object, so magic.
And it's broken. Yeah, I think that explains it.
Unless maybe it accidentally latched on to a magical portal in the toilet. Maybe there's like a portal that just takes the poop somewhere and like disposes of it. Like it's not actually like plumbing, like normal plumbing. Like you poop, you flush, and it's just like bloop, disappeared.
Yeah, you
Like
can't apparate inside of Hogwarts.
why would they set up a plumbing system when you have magic that just disappears the waste?
Thought plumbing was better than just rolling down your robes, taking a shit on the floor, and then vanishing the evidence.
No, but waste their time with plumbing. I'm not saying to just poop on the floor wherever. I'm saying you install a toilet, but instead of worrying about putting a pipe all the way down, you just put an enchantment on the toilet that makes everything that goes in it disappear. That's all.
Hogwarts is not the Enterprise. The Slytherin prefects and maybe the older kids would have been watching out for the Slytherins. Thank you, Melanie. I was gonna answer that one. Just didn't get that far.
I love Dylan's. What about teachers sending the Slytherins to their common room in the first book when the troll is let loose in the dungeons? No one cares about the Slytherins.
I do think Melanie is making a point that the prefects would have guided them safely there. That would have been the whole point. And obviously, um the troll was not in the dungeons for very long because it made it to the girls' bathroom.
Yeah, but it's the girls' bathroom down in the dungeons, wasn't it? Oh,
Don't run down to the dungeon. Oh, Dan is saying no, the inability to apparate within Hogwarts is why he ended up in the toilet. Because he tried to apparate.
oh.
Here's a thought. Wait, different dungeons. Yeah, I mean, maybe the Slytherin common. I mean, there's a lot of dungeons.
It's a big castle. I mean,
It's
they
a
might
big
have been
castle.
on the East Wing dungeons, and the Slytherin is on the East or North Wing dungeons or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Here's a thought. Hermione and Ron are still prefects in their 6th year, but there's no mention of who becomes the new 5th year Gryffindor prefects alongside them. Because they weren't relevant to the plot, I'm assuming.
Yeah, when like certain people aren't mentioned, I kind of just chalk it down to Harry didn't care about them.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair. Harry didn't care.
Yeah. Um,
I think
and
that's valid.
isn't there only one set of? No, it's head boy. Never mind. I was gonna say I thought there was only one prefect,
You
but
have
there's
two
only
sets
one
of
head boy.
prefects. You have multiple sets of prefects, and then you have one head boy and head girl.
Yeah, and they're like head boy and head girl for the last 3 years, right?
They're the head boy and girl of their last year of school. Like you, 7th year, you get picked.
I thought it was 6 because wasn't Hermione chose as like head girl?
No,
No,
you don't ever find out because they don't go to school.
I thought she was. Okay. JK didn't care exactly. She's like, I've written enough characters. I don't need another one.
I think it was just plot relevance. That's why they're not mentioned. That's what I think, anyway.
Wins Patil and Patil during the sorting.
Oh yeah.
All right, that was a pretty good one though. I like that. They just don't care about the Slytherins. Troll in the dungeon. Quick, Slytherins, go handle this. Just Dumbledore. Snape, handle my light work. Take your students.
Oh, and catch Quirrell while you're at it too. Don't let Fluffy bite you.
That's the thing though, like Dumbledore is the most powerful wizard in the world. And he's nowhere to be seen when the troll's down there. McGonagall is the first person down there. Dumbledore could have went down there and handled it with a flick of his wand. Hit him with one of those bang curses that he hit Voldemort with.
The big gong thing.
Yeah. Just pop the troll like a grape.
Melanie says the toilet's let out into the lake. Myrtle gets flushed down there. Hopefully the water gets magically cleaned before going into the lake.
I hope so. Otherwise, poor Squid. And the more people, I guess, yeah. I'm just picturing now the mer people doing that scream or whatever. Maybe that's why Dumbledore had to learn Mermish.
To fix the plumbing situation.
Yeah, they were getting mad. Coming up, just like throwing poop through his window, and it would be awful. No wonder the Grindylows are so angry.
Like, did we really think that the twins would have different last names? Why don't we get their first names? We do.
Eventually.
After a while, but we do get their first names.
Maybe she just didn't think that they were going to be that relevant later on. So she was like, I'm not even going to bother. If I just say Patil and Patil, I can completely leave them out of the story and they're irrelevant. But if I give them names, then, I mean, by the structure of writing, you should use those characters later.
So Dylan also says, what about how the Azkaban escapees got their wands back after escaping?
Did they get their wands back? I never really thought about that. I just assumed that they got new ones.
They do, because Ollivander instantly recognizes Bellatrix's wand. He like knows it's hers.
I mean, does Azkaban? I mean, when you go to prison, they keep all your stuff that you go in with. Does Azkaban do that?
I believe for something like what Bellatrix did, they would have snapped their wand. Hagrid got expelled and his wand was snapped.
Maybe they don't do that after school, though. I don't know.
So let's say they
that
don't.
might be a plot hole.
Let's say they don't, and they hold on to your stuff.
Okay.
Obviously, they broke in and got their shit.
Yeah. But like you said, they snapped the wand for less.
Let's say they would snap their wands. Then obviously, knowing what would happen, Bellatrix, etc., stash their wands elsewhere prior to capture.
Do they plan on getting captured? Like, I think that they just got captured.
We don't know the circumstances.
Well, no, but I would assume that they would have had their wand on them at all times. And they probably had it on them when they got captured. I don't see Bellatrix as the type of person to turn herself in.
No.
Actually, maybe she would, because then everyone would know how dedicated she was to Voldemort. I did it. I did all of this. Put it in the papers right now. This was all me.
Yeah. I think they could have stashed their wands. If their wands would have been snapped, like Bellatrix would have an inkling, like they're gonna get me for this. Stash my wand.
Would she though?
I think she would.
I also think that Bellatrix is the type to say, you know, if they come and try to get me, I'm going down swinging. You know, you'll never take me alive.
I don't think
Bonnie
so.
and Clyde style.
I don't think so. I think she went happily, like, yeah, look what I did. All for my Dark Lord. I did nothing wrong.
Yeah, I think it could go either way.
And I think she would have also thought,
he's not dead. He'll come back and get me.
Yeah, I think she literally thought, he'll be back to get me. I don't need to bother.
I think that was the premise of the Harley Quinn show.
Hermione would have been head girl if she'd returned to school, and if the Voldy ministry hadn't taken over Hogwarts. I wonder who did become head boy and girl that year. Or Peter Pettigrew collected wands. I mean,
I bet you Neville and Luna would have been head boy and head girl. Well, Hermione went back. Hermione may have been.
You have to be prefect to be picked.
Okay, well, Hermione definitely.
Yeah, it would have been Hermione.
But the boys, like, there wouldn't have been a prefect. Well, I guess it would have been whoever was the year behind, right?
It could have been, if Hermione was head girl, then it could have been any other prefect in their year.
No, head boy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Any other male prefect could have been head boy.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So it would have been the year prior. Or the next year. Because Ron was the prefect. So he didn't go back.
Pansy Parkinson could have been.
Pansy Parkinson isn't a boy. Head boy.
No, I know. She's saying who did become head boy and head girl.
Yeah,
because Ron and Hermione
we said
aren't there.
Probably Hermione.
Right, but she's not there. Ron's not there, so Pansy Parkinson could have been.
Wait. Oh, okay, stop. I thought Hermione went back to school and finished. Didn't she?
After, yeah.
Yeah. So she finished her 7th year. She could have been a head girl. is what I was saying.
You did not explain that at all.
I'm gonna have to go back and play that clip. I felt like I explained that. And I was just on the whole Ron thing, and then you were just talking about head girl. I'm like, no, we're past that. Head boy.
Justin could be head boy too. Yeah. I don't know who the the
And
Ravenclaw prefects
you
are.
would think they would fight back. Yeah, the Death Eaters. That's what I think. I kind of see it as a bit of a loophole. I don't, but at the same time, I
I see
see.
it being Pansy Parkinson with the Death Eaters being in charge of Hogwarts.
All right, quick backstepping just a little bit to the whole Azkaban thing. So Bellatrix, I definitely see her as, she would do that, stash her wand, then go, hey, I did it. Make sure everyone knows I did all this, especially Voldemort when he comes back. But what about all the other Death Eaters? I don't think all of them would have. She's on
Maybe
a
not,
different level of crazy.
but it doesn't mean it's not ever said that all the Death Eaters all got their wands back.
Probably did.
Maybe not. We know Lucius has his, we know Bellatrix has hers. We don't know.
Did Sirius Black have his? No.
He has a wand, but I don't know if it's ever stated that it's his wand.
Okay.
He might have got a new wand.
Yeah, because I mean, I know he has a wand. I just can't remember if they said if it was a new one or if it was like his old wand,
I
because that might answer our question a little bit.
I could see Bellatrix hiding her wand. I could see um maybe Barty Crouch Jr. like hiding his wand. But like some of the other ones, like we don't know that they hid their wands. We just know that Ollivander knows that that's Bellatrix's wand in 7. But like Rookwood could have like had his shit on him, or whoever, Dolohov could have had his on him, and then he needed to get another wand, which is part of the reason maybe why Ollivander was kidnapped in the first place, because they all needed wands. Almost all of them.
Well, no, we
Oh yeah,
Ollivander.
maybe Blaze Zabini would have been head boy. That's true.
Oh yeah, Zabini.
Forgot about that guy.
That guy has the coolest name ever, Blaze Sabini.
Mhm.
He better become like a stuntman or an action hero. It's the only thing he can do.
Right, and Draco wasn't at Hogwarts anyway. After a certain point,
All right. I feel like there was another plot hole I've heard come up a lot. I can't think of it now. So if you have another one, please.
I feel like my brain got obliterated with all the head boy wand discussion.
The one thing, I think you could explain it, but I think it's too vague. They don't touch on it enough in the story
Right.
to really have an answer for it, because
They don't give you enough information about how it all went down, how they were captured.
I think Bellatrix, you could explain it pretty easily, but
Yeah.
everyone else, that's a little bit more of a challenge to where it, starts to become a bit of a hole. But I also don't think you can prove that it's a plot hole either.
Yeah.
'Cause it's too vague. They never talk about it.
And they never specify that all the Death Eaters all have their wands back either. Some of them could have gotten new wands.
Basilisk venom and the Horcrux inside. That's the one. Thank you. Yes. It's so Harry was bitten by the basilisk. Venom goes in him. Magical venom can destroy the Horcrux. That's how they destroy the goblet. Why did it not kill the Horcrux inside of Harry?
Because the Phoenix Tears negated the effects of the venom.
Works on Horcruxes too?
Why not?
Oh, I figured Horcruxes are different. It's not
Well, it's also inside of a living person, which is by its nature different.
so different. What are the rules about a Horcrux inside a person?
We don't know because it's never it's been like Nagini is the only other example up until that point. It's never been done before, so we don't know. But the Phoenix tears negated the effects of the venom. If Fawkes had not cried on Harry, then possibly Harry would have died
You know what's
and
crazy?
then been able to come back.
You know what's crazy? Harry could have just died there, destroyed the Horcrux, and we could have fast forward so far in the story. Thanks, Fawkes.
I don't think Dumbledore was 100% on his theory at the time, though.
Well, no, we know that he like confirms his theory once
Yeah.
they get the book, but I'm just saying things could have been so different. Could have been so much better. But Fox had to jump in and ruin it.
Oh, um,
I guess too that Fox got there before the Venom was able to destroy the Horcrux.
yeah,
Pretty much.
I think that's what it is. It negates it.
Juan's anticipating Voldemort's return. Wait. Could Peter or someone else have been secretly collecting the imprisoned Death Eater's wands, anticipating Voldemort's return? Well, what we were saying is that if the Ministry snapped Hagrid's wand for releasing the monster from the Chamber of Secrets, how do they not snap the Death Eater's wands? And who's else? Someone else's wand got snapped too, didn't they? Or they threatened to snap Harry's.
They threatened to snap Harry's.
But either way, they're snap happy. So the plot hole is that they would have snapped all of their wands once they were caught. So they would have had to stash them before, or if for some reason they store them when they go into Azkaban.
Then they just went and got them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different when you go to Azkaban.
Yeah. I don't think we're given enough information.
Again, when it
I
was
would
snapped,
assume
people were still in school, so maybe after school you still have like the right to your wand, but
if you ever get out.
yeah, that wouldn't be my theory.
I feel like there needs to be more information across the board to like
That's the only way I can explain it fully, is that Azkaban just stores all your stuff that you came in with. Because after you leave school, you have the right to your wand. They won't snap it, but you got to serve your time.
Right.
Even though I'm pretty sure Bellatrix was away for life.
Yeah.
Or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, I think she's not getting out anytime soon.
Yeah.
But like she's also a pure blood. Maybe you could pull some strings, you know? Maybe that's part of it. They're pure bloods. They could pull strings. Like Lucius Malfoy, maybe they didn't snap his wand because, you know.
Well, he got off.
Yeah, but he went to Azkaban.
Wait, Lucius did?
Yeah, he's in Azkaban in Prince. After the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing with the prophecy. And yeah, there were Death Eaters still working at the ministry, so there could have been corruption. Like, so that their wands were hidden away. And yeah, racial prejudice could have definitely entered into it. Hagrid was a half giant, snap his wand.
That's true.
These guys are all wealthy purebloods.
And the
Don't snap
Ministry
their wands.
had no love for Harry either.
No.
They threatened to snap his wand. So.
They could have definitely just not snapped their wands because of who they were.
Yeah. So I think that has too many answers to be a plot hole.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could answer that. Oh, that's one I see all the time too. Why didn't the Ministry use Veritaserum more during the First War?
Well, why not?
It's hard to make, and you need a lot of clearance to be able to use it in the first place.
So are time turners, and they had a ton of those.
Yeah, but they're not using them willy-nilly all the time.
Here's a question: why not? Why aren't they using the time turners to?
That is not a plot hole.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, it is not. And they
People are
wanted to
getting murdered and killed in all these investigations. Why did they not just take the time turners and go back in time and be like, okay, well, we're going to wait here
I'm not even
at
gonna
the
engage
Potter's
in-
house
Nope.
until.
They do that in Cursed Child, and there is a reason why it doesn't work.
Why?
I'm not gonna explain it.
I'm
It takes
never
too-
going to read that book.
No, I'm not gonna get into it.
Dumbledore could have pulled some strings in the Ministry, went back in time, would have been like, "Hey, James, Lily,
They don't go back
stay
that far.
stay at Sirius
They don't
tonight."
go back that far.
What are you talking about?
They don't. You can't go back that far with one.
They go back like a whole day and a half.
That's
No, I'm talking about like as soon as it happened.
you can't go back to a time before you decided to go back in time.
Wait, what?
Dan said you can't go back to a time before you decided to go back in time.
Sort of. What? No, that is the crappiest rule I have ever heard. You can't go back in time. What if at that point you decide you want? But here's the thing: Dumbledore has wanted to go back in time since the day Ariana died, so he could change that. So
Before Buckbeak, Dumbledore decided to have Hermione go back to get Buckbeak. Dumbledore, that's how you avoid paradox.
but he wanted to go back in time. So he could have gone back in time. You don't think there are other moments?
On a time turner.
He knows they existed. He could have pulled some strings.
17, 18. There's no way. When Ariana died.
Talking about when James and Lily died. I'm saying he's wanted to go back in time since then. You don't think there are other moments that he's wanted to go back in time? And then at the point of James and Lily's death, he knows that there is time turners. So why wouldn't he get one, go back in time? Why wouldn't they all be using them? If you know they're there, I would have been like, hey, everyone take one of these, all right? Take one, pass it along.
Dan is saying you can't go back in time to a time before you decided to go back in time. So how could he have prevented their death if he didn't know he needed to go back in time until after they died, which therefore doesn't help?
Just saying, I would have been planning
This
that
is
out.
why they're at the Ministry and you can't use them because people would be doing shit like crazy all the time, willy-nilly, all over the place.
Hours before Buckbeak, Dumbledore decided to have Hermione go back. Buckbeak. Okay, but don't they go back like a whole day?
No, they only go back a few hours. They go back like 3 hours.
Either way, I think that is completely irresponsible to not be using time turners when you're in a war.
The question was about Veritaserum and nothing to do with time turners, and now you're on the time turner tangent.
Because
Again, we can't ever
I just
get
realized
off the time turner tangent.
I just realized that the Ministry had this whole room of time turners and they're fighting this war against the Death Eaters, and they didn't for 1 second think, maybe
he does not want to meet the Langoliers. That will bug the shit out of him. I know.
maybe we
He's not
should
even gonna.
distribute these to our soldiers so that we can have whatever Tom Cruise movie that was, the day before tomorrow or something, where he keeps going back in time. I remember.
Melanie, this is like that's the thing that I think he struggles with is Harry and Hermione go back in time. They don't change what happens. They affect what happened already.
Same thing.
So if James and Lily died and go back in time, James and Lily would still die because they died.
Distribute the time turners, then it always happens. So why didn't they do that?
Because it causes too much chaos and people be doing dumb shit. That's why.
It's dumb not to use them, is all I'm saying.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't even get into the whole fact that time travel does not work like it does in the books. I'm not even going to touch it.
Accurate. It's supposed to
Oh,
work the way it's
now it's
supposed to
not
work.
supposed to be accurate.
No,
Okay.
it's supposed to work the way it's supposed to work.
You
That's
heard it here. It's not accurate.
JK Rowling did not sit down and say, I'm going to introduce time travel and make sure it is exactly as accurate as science says it is.
Why not?
Things happen to wizards that mess with time. There was a lady who messed with a time turner. Her name was Eloise Mintumble. She accidentally went back like 300 years.
I mean, sounds pretty cool, actually.
I'm just saying. Ugh. But that's why
You get to
you couldn't
invent
use the time turner
electricity.
to go back and cause Lily and James not to die, because that's not how it works.
It's dumb. In regards to Nagini's bite, did Harry get bitten by the snake when he and Hermione visited Batilda? How did he recover so easily in comparison to Arthur Weasley? I don't think he was bitten.
I don't think he was bitten either. I don't think he was bitten by Nagini.
No, Hermione
Combusts
comes
the room.
Yeah, at the very last second.
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever bitten by Nagini.
I don't think he is bitten by Nagini. But the Veritaserum, I think, is another thing that's super tightly controlled. There's not a lot of it, and it's very difficult to make. So you have to use it very sparingly and under very strict conditions. And I think that the entire First War was so politicized that I don't think they even would have bothered, because they were just so gung ho on get these guys, get them in jail, do this. But they're all pure bloods and this and that. Like, I don't think Veritaserum entered into the equation as much as maybe it should have. I don't see that as a plot hole, but maybe a sins of the father kind of a thing.
I kind of see it as a plot hole, but I can also see the other side where I think a lot of the Death Eaters probably just straight up admitted it, like Bellatrix.
Well, and you have people like Lucius Malfoy who are super influential and super rich, and they're saying, I was under the Imperius curse. And then you have the Ministry who's like, well, he gives us a lot of money and he's a pureblood, and if he says he's under the Imperius curse, we're going to believe him. I think that the lack of use of Veritaserum is, again, playing into the racial prejudices and the corruption of what's going on. I think that's why we didn't use it. Or they didn't use it.
Maybe.
Melanie's going, you mean there are actual physical rules for time travel in the real world?
Yes, there are. Quantum mechanics looks into it, but yes, there are actually rules to avoid a paradox, basically. How it would work. The theories are there, the mathematics are there about how it would work, and how you could do it without avoiding a paradox. The only thing is that in order to do time travel, you need an infinite amount of energy. So that's kind of the problem we're trying to hurdle. Because you think if you were
to get
to
wizards
move,
in a spaceship traveling at half the speed of light away from Earth.
yeah,
Wrong, Dan.
I mean, technically, to go back in time, you have to travel faster than the speed of light.
Oh my god. This is a plot hole discussion, not the scientific inaccuracies of Harry Potter discussion.
Next live stream.
Oh my god. I don't think I can handle that.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. That would be fun, though. I would have a great time doing that, honestly.
I don't know if I could take it. I lived it once already. I don't know if I can do it again.
No. You only lived the what pensieve and the
Pensieve
time
Gate.
turner.
Pensieve Gate all
Pensieve
over
Gate.
again.
There's more. There's more I could get into.
Oh my god. We don't need to read Harry Potter and the Theory of Rationality. I live it right here.
Time travel is accomplished by reaching a sufficient speed through sufficient gravity. Basically, yeah. Gravity affects time in the same way that, like, moving faster affects time. Basically, energy. Sorry, I'll stop.
You guys are having a chat. I just don't have anything to offer.
But yeah, higher gravity means that time moves slower. It's one of the reasons why. Actually, what's the tower in Dubai? It's like the tallest tower in the world. They were able to measure a time difference from the top and the bottom. So when you're on the top, time actually moves faster for you than when you're on the bottom. Like, that's how tall it is. We're talking about like billionths of a second difference, but still. What are you looking up?
I'm just looking at more plot holes.
Signing up for Tinder. Need new boyfriend now. Can't take this anymore.
The rise and fall of the corporate state says, glad I tuned in right when we're discussing time dilation.
See? Someone appreciates the science of Harry Potter. Well,
The cost of wands should be one as well. The cores cost more than the wand makers are charging.
is there a chart for this? 'Cause I could
So,
definitely see that, especially with like unicorn hair or dragon heartstring.
well, here's the thing. How much are you putting in a wand?
A hair.
Right, but a single hair doesn't cost 10 galleons. You're not buying like a single hair at a time.
Wait, why not?
They don't sell it like that. They sell it in like little batches, 10 galleons. A wand is 13, I think. Unicorn hair is 10 galleons. A wand is 14 galleons.
Oh, okay.
But you're not buying one hair for 10 galleons. You're buying a little. Is it 10 galleons a hair?
10 galleons a hair.
Is it though?
That okay. I thought it was. Thank you for confirming. Yeah, Slughorn says it at some point, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe it does.
And then the spider venom is like 100 galleons or something for a pint. Harry did get bitten in Batilda's house. The force of the bite to his forearm. This is why he loses a grip on the wand. Ooh, the plot thickens. Do you need the book?
You got me the book, but I mean, maybe
Which book was it?
7.
7? I like this. Now we're getting somewhere. This is like the first plot hole where there might be some credence to it. Do you remember the chapter?
Batilda would be Batilda or the one right after.
I mean the number.
Okay. So if okay. Um okay, so if their wand is I mean, I guess it's possible that you're not using a single hair for just one wand. Maybe a single hair can be cut to length for different wands. Slughorn does say so. Slughorn, yeah. Sorry, I had to look it up. Um, but I mean, if it's a unicorn hair, maybe it's really long, and if they're 10 galleons a hair, maybe you can get 3 or 4 wands out of a single hair. I feel like that's possible. Yeah, Dan, you might be right. The cost of the are they 7 galleons? Maybe they are 7 galleons. Book 7, page 278. They're on this.
78. What? That's way too far back.
Yeah, that is way too far back.
Snake struck at his raised wand. The force of the bite to his forearm sent the wand spinning upwards to the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she bites his forearm.
Maybe it was a dry bite. Maybe it was a dry.
I mean, I guess you could be right because then a little bit further down it says, "Yes," whispered the voice. "Yes, hold you, hold you."
Yeah, maybe
So,
she's not injecting venom
because
because
she was supposed to hold
hang on to him
Harry.
until Voldemort got there. Yeah. And if she envenomated him and killed him, Voldemort would probably be upset.
A little bit.
So it could have been a dry bite.
That's funny. We were just talking about that, how snakes can do dry bites too. Still in the hospital, they say the wounds won't heal. With Arthur Weasley, yeah, like
Arthur was
because
bitten multiple
she
times.
injected venom into him.
She definitely envenomated Arthur Weasley. Um,
Yeah, Harry was
right,
still
Harry
bitten.
was still bitten, but if she didn't envenomate him, then it would just heal like a normal wound. If it was a dry
Like
bite, he wouldn't have been envenomated.
snakes can control whether they envenomate someone.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of cases of like rattlesnakes in particular where they will bite someone but they don't inject venom in them because well they worked hard for that venom. They're not going to waste it on something they can't eat. And they just want you to get away.
So it's possible that Nagini bit him simply to hang on to him, but not to inject venom because Voldemort would want Harry alive. And I'm assuming untainted.
Yeah.
Um, I guess you could even go so far as to say is even if she did envenomate him, maybe there is some component of Harry Voldemort's soul
No, I
being
don't
in
think so.
Harry that you
If
could.
she envenomated him, I don't think there's any.
I'm saying you could argue it. I'm not saying it's a good argument. I think she dry bit him and didn't envenomate him.
I mean, that's what I think too. I'm saying that's the only possible way. In the movies, Snape's Avada Kedavra was blue in color. Does that mean he didn't have the intent to kill Dumbledore?
I think in the movies it just means they done goofed, and it should have been green.
I like that idea that it was a different color because he didn't have the full intent to kill him. But I think it would probably just come down to the movie messed up.
Or yeah, just didn't care about consistency. I actually don't like that idea because he did have the intent to kill Dumbledore. He and Dumbledore talked about it. He knew he was going to have to do it.
Yeah, but he didn't really mean it.
Yeah, he did. He had to, or else it wouldn't work.
But maybe it didn't work. Maybe it was blue and it only knocked him back because he didn't mean it, and then the fall killed him.
I hate this conversation. No, that is not how it went down. No.
But it could be.
Yeah, it was a mercy killing rather than a vengeful killing.
Yeah.
But the intent was there to commit the act. Because he had to.
Book describes Snape as having nothing but loathing in his eyes. I mean, yeah. I could see how Snape could, work himself up to killing Dumbledore. Like, here's the man who's pulled my strings all these years and done all of these.
Either way, though, the movie just committed an error.
Yeah, I think that's it. I do like the idea that it was a different color because it was more of a mercy killing and there was like good intent behind it rather than just pure I'm gonna kill you. But they don't mention that in the book, so I have to say it's just a
It's an error.
flub on the VFX team.
It's an error. They just thought it would look prettier in that scene. And I'm not a fan of it.
But you could
Yeah,
also
that's
argue
true.
that he didn't mean it, and then the fall killed Dumbledore. Because in the movie, Dumbledore is alive when he's falling.
I hate that too. I hate that.
Wow, that why? Just real quick, why does that infuriate you so much?
Because that's not how Avada Kedavra works.
Oh,
It
no.
instantly kills you. That's it. You dead.
Okay, fair enough.
Also, Melanie makes a point. Hermione had the essence of Dittany on her. Arthur didn't. St. Mungo's would have had it, but Harry was treated with Dittany instantaneously after being bitten. Arthur had to wait however long till they got there.
And Arthur was bitten
Multiple
multiple
times.
times. So yeah, I guess you could say that too. Because I mean, there is a cure for the venom. It just isn't easy. Because Arthur makes it out just fine. So.
And with any other kind of envenomation, time does make a difference. Oh my god.
Definitely not a fan of the idea of the fall being the kill. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to work with it. I hate Voldemort totally disintegrating when Harry kills him in the movies. Right?
Sucks.
Harry, his true father was Thanos. The Elder Wand is one of the Infinity Stones.
Hate it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either, and I don't really see a reason why they did that. Because, we've talked about this before too, is the big fight scene and stuff. I get it. You have to have something more visually stimulating for the big final battle. I didn't mind it. I still think you should have ended with the whole standoff. Have the little battle, then go back, have a little standoff. But I don't know why they made him disintegrate.
So I read that I was reading that people actually like the movie change better to have Voldemort disintegrate to prove beyond a doubt that he is really gone, because when he's just a corpse, is he really gone? Could you reanimate him? Blah, blah, blah.
Oh man, you know what? That's a great fan fiction idea for anyone. Voldemort wasn't really dead and he slips off. They say his body's on the side of the room,
Yeah.
but really he's just pretending to be dead.
And he just sneaks away
Yeah,
later.
just halfway through the celebration, his eye just opens and then he just sneaks out the back way.
Philosopher's Stone is an Infinity Stone.
I think the pooping to vapor gives him more potential to return. Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened to him before the start of the first book.
pretty much. Yeah.
So
Man, do we have any more plot holes to look at? I
I
feel
think
like most of the plot holes we've looked at either aren't plot holes or there's not enough to really go one way or another, like the wands and stuff.
the wands make sense in under the context of if one unicorn hair is 10 galleons and a wand is 7 galleons, I would assume one unicorn hair could be used for multiple wands.
All right,
It's a horse's tail or whatever hair. It's law. You know what I mean? You could probably cut it.
chop it.
Yeah.
But if you cut it, then does it lose some of its magical?
I just
Maybe that's something like a more
assume
expensive.
is this big. The tail, the hair is this long. Like you gotta cut it. How are you gonna fit it in?
Fold it, wrap it up, coil it. Maybe that's something like more expensive wands use the full hair and they're more powerful or have the potential to be more powerful.
Maybe, yeah. But I think as far as like a 7 galleon wand goes, you could argue that one hair makes, I don't know, 7 wands or something, or 10 wands or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'll write that fan fiction. It will be titled The Return of the Noseless Git Who Tried to Kill Me. I like it.
Maybe it's main hair rather
Harry
than
Potter
tail hair.
2.
I don't
Voldemort
think they
returns.
specify. Honestly, I feel like either or works. Main hair versus tail hair.
I feel like, I don't know. There's probably like a difference.
Could be. I'm not sure. We're never given that information. There could be.
And you wanted to write a fanfic to kind of practice your writing. Maybe that's what you should do. The Return of Voldemort.
Oops.
Harry Potter 2.
See it?
Mhm.
Hiccups.
Horcruxes can be destroyed by Basilisk fangs. Then why didn't the one in Harry die when the fangs stabbed him in book 2? Well, we kind of covered this. The Basilisk venom. We didn't talk about why stabbing him didn't, but the Basilisk venom was counteracted by Fawkes's tears, which saved the Horcrux along with Harry.
Yeah.
And the Horcrux, I mean, with the scar, I'm assuming the Horcrux is like located in his head or maybe in his heart. I don't know. But I think you would have to specifically stab the area where the Horcrux is located with the Basilisk Fang in order to kill it. That
That's
would be
also possible.
my theory. Unless you have like a theory that the it's like everywhere,
Yeah.
it becomes part of his spirit and is just his body. Then it gets a little bit more gray, and I really don't have an answer for that. Do you have any further answers on that?
No, I think that's about it. I think that answers it. You could the Phoenix tears cancel it out. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, like we said, it's could have saved us like 5 books.
Oh, Fox, you rascal!
Yeah, good intent, but the execution little off. Next time, buddy. Next time.
I mean, he does swallow an Avada Kedavra curse later, so I think he makes up for it.
Yeah, that's true. How many? Is there any way to kill a phoenix? Like, okay, he's fully grown, he dies, and then he becomes a little baby again. But like, he killed the baby again. Would he just be dead? Like, how many times can
Fox like
Yeah.
respawn?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Like
I'm
I
not
know
sure.
it's infinite when he goes through like his whole life
Right, the
cycle.
cycle. The cycle just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But what if the cycle doesn't go on?
What if they just eventually just die of immense old age?
Maybe it just like it starts getting harder and harder to redo
Go
it.
through the cycle. Yeah.
Kind of like lobsters. They're technically immortal, but like it gets harder and harder for them to molt
To
and
molt. Yeah. The Horcrux is in Harry's head. The Sorting Hat says it's all in your head.
and then
Maybe.
Dumbledore says, "Of course it's happening in your head, Harry." It's coming full circle.
It,
I didn't even notice that. But yeah, I assume that it was in his head. You know, that's where the scar is. So
right.
what else? We did the Thestrals.
Yep.
We did Batilda.
Yep.
Those were some big ones.
Fred and George.
Fred
Because
and
every
George.
time Fred and George. Oh my God.
And
The
Peter Pettigrew.
Lily and James is the other big one that people talk about a lot.
Are there any like weird ones that you found when you were doing research?
I found ones that were like weird, but they were also because they were from the movies and people hadn't read the books, so like they didn't
Oh,
count. There's a lot of that.
that's fair.
I'm looking.
Oh, you're looking more up? Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking to see like what else there might be. Uh,
Oh,
we did talk about the trace a little bit.
how did Harry not see Rita on the map?
God, he would not have noticed.
I mean, people, this is why you have to pay attention. The devil is in the details.
It is. I legit think he just didn't pay attention.
Teenagers. My God. Oh, I saw that screen grab. I thought it was like a World of Warcraft thing. I was like, what are you looking at? This is why Harry Potter is a paladin.
These are all like things we pretty much
Hermione is a warlock. Did we cover them all?
big things.
Wow.
These other ones I'm seeing are like movieisms that are just movie issues, not like book problems. Unless anyone else has another one that they can think of that.
Would be so many names. Yeah. The ministry keeps on talking about the trace. Does that mean any wizard can walk into an 11-year-old's house and say Lumos and the kid gets in trouble? So we kind of talked about this in the beginning with why didn't Harry get in trouble when Hagrid came and did magic on Dudley? It only happens after they go to school. But after they go to school, I guess yes. Like any wizard could walk into an 11-year-old's house. Why you would, I don't know. And just say Lumos, and yeah, the kid would get in trouble. Unless he's a pure blood. It's a pure blood family, in which case it's just up to the parents, right? To punish.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If you're pure blood family, they very much just rely on you to police yourselves.
Okay. So, yeah, technically, you could do that. Why you would, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's a very strange.
Oh, yeah, Timmy, keep leaving your bike in my driveway. I'm going to show you. Lumos.
I mean, how did they get out of the Chamber of Secrets? They could have used any number of spells or charms to get out of the Chamber of Secrets. By now, Hermione knows a million and one things. I'm sure they could have levitated their way out or something.
Let's think about that for a minute because I've never thought about this. This is the first time I heard about it, actually. Because, well, they can't apparate, obviously.
Right.
Or are the spells broken at this point because the war is going on?
I don't think so.
No. I thought maybe them breaking through the barriers
I mean, it's.
would possibly have something to do with, or
I
just
think
the
the whole
charms are
like not
broken.
apparating in and out of Hogwarts is like one of those things that's like stuck around for a long. I don't know if like that one specifically could have broken. I'm not sure.
But they also take
I would
off
be
the
tempted
charm
to
on
say no.
the room that they practice in, like the auditorium, the Great Hall.
Well, that's the movie, Dan. So we don't go by what the movie says.
I mean, I guess they could have brought a broom down. Maybe they, just climbed out. I don't know. The squid helped them.
I think they could have just used magic to like levitate out, levit corpus or something. Like they could have just lifted themselves up.
Hermione just lifted Ron up, and then Ron lifted Hermione.
It could be.
I mean, okay. I guess that's another one where we don't. You just. It's hard to find a loophole. Well, I mean, it's easy to find a loophole. It's hard to find a plot hole when you have magic.
I
It's
know,
like,
but
well, they just use
but
magic.
there are specific levitation spells.
Yeah.
So like that actually does hold water that they could have just.
Yeah.
Or they could have stood on a rock and said Wingardium Leviosa and.
That's true. Movie Draco apparates in the castle in Deathly Hallows too. Yeah, you already answered that. That's what you were saying. But it was the movies.
Yeah. We discussed the Peter Pettigrew thing at length earlier in the stream. And basically said Fred and George would not have been paying attention.
They wouldn't have been paying attention. Or, Fred and George are just being big brothers and are just waiting for the perfect moment to spring that on Ron. But I think there's a million and one reasons. Either Fred and George are just jerks.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't notice. Or you said that it might be that the Marauders put a spell on the map so that you couldn't see the Marauders. But that's digging deep and just a total theory. There's nothing really to back it up. But that's movie canon, not book canon.
Yeah.
Oh, are we talking about the Draco thing?
Yeah, the Draco thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's movie canon.
The Marauders may have fixed the map so only Marauders could see the Marauders on the map. Fred and George had no reason to check on Ron in his bedroom. Yeah.
I see, Dan. Now I got you.
May have thought that Peter Pettigrew was another. That's what I mean. Maybe they thought Ron just had a boyfriend. They're just giving him time to, work up the courage to tell the family.
That's true. Well, I don't think they apparated anyway.
And it might have just been that they didn't know that it was lifted at the time. And there was still like protections and charms on Hogwarts until the battle happened, and then like all that stuff kind of fell apart. I think the wards will be broken upon the assault. That's what I'm thinking too. Like, I think when the assault happened, like, all the charms and protections kind of broke down. So I think it would have been possible to apparate into Hogwarts at that point. Hermione
So
states that food cannot be conjured, but its quantity can be increased. Then couldn't they just increase the quantity of food they already had and save it for later? I'm going to let you go on this because this is a problem I had when we were reading the book.
they
I brought this
specifically
up.
they specifically state though that the more you replicate it, the less it tastes good and the less nutrient it has. It's like a pale copy of itself.
They're kind of like splitting all the atoms in half and then putting it back together each time.
Kinda. And so it's not as good. It's not gonna and yeah, it would still go bad. So if you had like mushrooms and you multiplied all the mushrooms, the more you multiply them, the less they're gonna taste good and they're still gonna go bad.
Yeah, there you go. Infinite food. Just Accio it. Accio cheeseburger. Someone loses their cheeseburger the next town over, but guess what? I got a cheeseburger. I mean, that would suck though. Imagine just being a muggle and all of a sudden your like fries just fly off your plate.
That would be a bummer.
Increasing the quantity of food would weaken its nutrition. Also, maybe increasing the food volume didn't cross anyone's mind, like hunting and fishing didn't.
We also got to remember they are 17-year-old kids. They are not going to be as forward thinking and logical as maybe older people would be.
I don't know. One thing kids are really good at is like thinking outside of the box.
Right, but like maybe not necessarily thinking like, oh, we should try hunting or fishing.
Why though?
Also,
Even like what Dan said, Accio salmon. Like, why not just Accio
right, but
something?
like they never have been, you know. Hermione and them have never been hunting or fishing. Like,
I feel like it can't be hard, just Leviosa, and then the salmon comes out of the water. What's it gonna do? Just grab it, take it, and then fry it up.
I guess so.
Dinner.
Um,
Hunting when you're 17. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and Ron isn't exactly like a city kid either.
no,
Hermione is very much like a city person, but
I mean, and Harry is a suburbanite.
yeah.
Um, and his family would have they would have never like taken him hunting anyway. Um,
But like Ron, the Weasleys live out in the country. They have a garden. They grow their own food and stuff. I feel like Arthur would have taken his kids fishing at least.
yeah. Ah, well, we're not discussing Fantastic Beasts because that's not canon. Also, I have not seen all the movies, so I
AKA,
cannot
the
comment.
McGonagall age thing is in fact a plot hole, so we're ignoring it.
Um, because they didn't pay attention to the consistencies of her life story, and I haven't seen the films other than the first one anyway. But they're not canon.
Planning on making like another trilogy of the Fantastic Beasts.
Mm, God, I hope
I
not.
think there's like another 3 movies in the making. Good, they aren't great.
Mm,
See, I didn't really mind the first one. We only watched the first one. Like I like Newt Scamander. Newt Scamander is awesome.
we will be live streaming us watching the second one at some point.
After watching Dean Dirk, Gornock, etc. Accio-ing the salmon. Hermione doesn't. Well, they get captured right after that, don't they? Do- Uh, even after watching Dean, Dirk, and Gornock, etc., Accio-ing the salmon, Hermione doesn't. But I'm pretty sure they get captured right after that.
They do get captured like soon after that.
So I would just say she didn't have like the chance.
Newt was cool. He was the only thing I liked about the movie. Everything else was garbage.
Fantastic Feasts and Where to Eat Them. Now that's a book I need. Oh man, they need to do a Harry Potter cooking book, and that needs to be the title.
Yeah, where's that? Not the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. No, Fantastic Feasts and Where to Eat Them. That's exactly what it needs to be.
Right, that would be
No, we
amazing.
have not seen The Cursed Child play. Um,
Although even you have to admit that apparently the play is very good.
yeah, I've heard that the play is absolutely phenomenal, and I would go see it, despite having read the script and hating the entire story from start to finish. But I would go see the play because experiencing theater is different than reading it. So, um, but the plot I hated, and the choices made I hated.
Fully watched them because it was Harry Potter related. That's basically the only reason we're watching it. Also, it's cool to see like the beasts in 3D. I was gonna say like in person, but they're still rendered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading. Yeah, the third one didn't do that great, so they might not continue Fantastic Beasts. I did hear
Oh,
that.
it
They
didn't.
may not. Yeah, they may not keep going, which
Oh,
may be why they're looking at HBO doing the TV show instead.
I think they're gonna have better luck with the TV show,
Yeah.
anyways. Uh, could McGonagall have gone time traveling for a semester or two? No, because they didn't know about the time turners, right?
That is not what I said.
Too far back. Can only go back to where she wanted to go. Back in time. I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's a question for you because you kind of know more about this than I do.
What, McGonagall?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that would be too much time traveling to I don't think so. That's so much time traveling to be doing to not have a significant effect on everything.
Some of the magic in Fantastic Beasts 2 is pretty huge.
I didn't
So,
like the magic in the first one.
I mean, do a lot of magic in the first one.
I just
You
didn't like
had
how
the
it
I forget what it was, the repressed magical
Oh
thing.
yeah,
But
the
other than that,
Obscurus.
yeah, Obscurus. Other than that, there really wasn't a lot of magic.
Fantastic Beast movie series is canceled. I was waiting for the greatest fight of 1945, but sadly we won't be getting that now.
See, that would be the only reason to make a Fantastic Beasts movie. And you did 3 of them. How are you not at that point yet?
They're not doing very well.
Well, no, I get
Start
it.
doing that. Like because it was we're gonna make Fantastic Beasts and then turn it into the Dumbledore story. I don't know.
I mean, if you want to
I haven't
do
looked anything up about the remake lately, to be honest.
a Dumbledore story would be awesome, but just commit to that. Do that. Don't make it shrouded within Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Finite Maximo is in Fantastic Beasts 1. Oh, yeah, that's true. Has there been any new news on the remake? Not that I know of.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
I haven't really looked it up. Like nothing's come across my feeds yet though. Okay. Um, forget what I was gonna say.
Sorry. But we will live stream us watching the second one at some point.
When Bill and Fleur were in Shell Cottage, they were each other's secret. Why couldn't James and Lily do? Okay.
We
Yeah.
discussed this one as well already. Um Basically it's because Shell Cottage is the secret, therefore Bill and Fleur could be the secret keepers. Lily and James were the secret being kept, therefore they could not be each other's secret keeper. That's how the charm works. That's like the cut and dry explanation. If you want more information,
This is weird.
go back to the beginning of the stream.
Why you couldn't do just 2 Fidelius charms?
Oh my goodness, we don't need. We talked about this already.
Like I said, I understand why it didn't work. I'm just saying they could have been smarter about how they did it.
Do you know how hard one Fidelius charm is to do?
No, do you?
Really hard.
How hard?
So hard that Dumbledore, like, was one of the few people that could even do it correctly.
Like 5 times. He could have done it one more time. Just saying. Just saying. Could have been.
Maybe you can't do more than one.
Why didn't Voldemort
in a
make
vicinity.
the Death Eaters take an unbreakable vow? That's actually a really good one. That is straight up like Voldemort's alley. Why he wouldn't do that is pretty surprising. Why?
That's
Why
not
wouldn't
a
he do
plot
that?
hole.
I mean, kind of is.
How is it a plot hole?
Because if he did, like, Lucius and everyone would have died. And Snape would have died. Like that would have been the first thing, because it doesn't seem like doing an unbreakable vow is that hard. Why wouldn't he just do that as part of the inauguration? Like, hey, okay, you're in, kid, but first you got to promise me something.
I think Voldemort is that arrogant to think he doesn't need it. And I also don't think he would like the idea of being tied to people in that way.
I think no.
I don't think he would want to have all these unbreakable vows tied to him like this, all these people bound to him like that. It also takes away the fun of killing them when they betray him and all that. Um I think Voldemort enjoys killing. So if you make an unbreakable vow, that takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah, but
And Dylan also makes
basically the
excellent
same
point.
thing with Wormtail.
Dylan makes an excellent point. He can just legilimens them to see if they're deceiving him. And I do think he is that arrogant that he doesn't think he needs it.
Legilimency and Obliviate charms so acceptable.
I don't think legilimency is that acceptable.
I think what he's saying is, like, why aren't they considered unforgivables? I would probably
see is a little different. I think it's also very difficult, and I think the difficulty of it kind of, not a lot of people can really do it. There aren't very many people that are really good at it.
I mean, that's true. And Obliviate, I think it's something that probably the Ministry uses, so they can't make it illegal, like unforgivables.
Yeah, the part of
even though they kind of
abuse muggles
indirectly Crucio everyone in Azkaban. Just instead of physical pain, it's mental anguish. But no, that's a good point. I'm not sure why
Yeah,
You would
I would
think that
agree with that,
they
Melanie.
should be
And
treated as such.
an unbreakable vow goes both ways. I think that I think that's I think that's fair. Voldemort demands absolute loyalty, but he will never give it. I think he does not want to be tied to people for anything, even if it is my undying loyalty. I don't think he wants the connection.
Fair enough. And I'll kind of go along with, I think he was just so cocky at how good he was at legilimens that he didn't need it. He would know. He wasn't expecting Snape.
Yeah.
And why didn't the Ministry give Harry Veritaserum at the trial in Order of the Phoenix to see if he was telling the truth? Because they didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't care that whether or not he was telling the truth. They were going to get him, they were going to punish him, they were going to politicize it, and they were going to crucify him. They didn't want the truth. They didn't care about the truth.
Yeah.
They wanted to hang him out to dry, so they weren't going to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they were afraid to use Veritaserum because they knew the truth and they didn't want that truth. So they, spouted their own truth.
Yep.
Found a plot hole yet? The legitimacy and obliviate charms. I don't think that's a plot hole, but I kind of agree with. I would think that those being so intrusive and detrimental to a person, they should be considered unforgivables.
I know, BB. I know, BB.
In the first book, Quirrell yells "troll" in the dungeon.
We
Oh yeah.
too. We did. We talked about this one.
Answer was no one cares about the Slytherins.
Um,
Quick, send the Slytherins. They'll be full and won't eat us.
Also, I think that they're trusting everyone to get the Slytherins to their common rooms safely.
Nah. Dumbledore was just like, what's a few less Slytherins?
Yep, Vane, you're right. The top already know the truth. They don't care.
We're getting a lot. I think we covered all the possible plot holes.
I think we got quite a few. We definitely covered a lot of the big ones anyway.
The biggest one, I think, is the Thestrals. Because JK Rowling even said in an interview that it was kind of a plot hole and she just kind of made something up afterwards. It works.
Even if she says that, it still works.
So, for a time, that was a plot hole until she filled in the hole. The gaping hole in Prisoner of Azkaban. Are you talking about the Marauders map? Triwizard Tournament having spectators for the second and third task. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see them underwater, but you still see who wins. And then, wasn't the second task? Second task was the dragons, wasn't it? Okay, then what was the third? The maze? Oh. And yeah, same thing with the maze. It's just spectators to see who wins. Yeah, Melanie, I think we basically covered all the plot holes at this point. The first letters are not delivered by owls, or no mention of owls, until Hagrid reads the letter and it says, send a reply by owl. But Harry doesn't have an owl until Hagrid pulls in from... Wait. Where are we talking about the first letters? Because I'm pretty sure all the letters are delivered by owls. Because it says that Vernon notices owls outside the window. Wasn't Voldemort a person of interest to the international wizarding community? I mean, I'm sure he was at the time, but it's kind of like, as long as he's in the UK, that's a UK problem. We're not going to get into it. As soon as he reaches beyond those bounds, then, whatever the wizard NATO or the UN would probably intervene. But they also thought that he was dead. So that's another reason why. No, I don't. Uh, okay, here's one. Harry blew up Aunt Marge, thought Ministry was coming for him, ran away from the Aunt Marge and the uncles, intending to leave forever. Right. Are you saying like why didn't the Ministry nab him at that point? Because that I'm pretty sure is explained by Dumbledore basically talking to them. Right? Doesn't it mention that where he like talks to Dumbledore and Dumbledore says something along those lines? Yeah, like why Harry didn't get in trouble for that. No, I'm talking like why doesn't Dumbledore talk to him and say that he cleared up everything with the Ministry about Aunt Marge? Okay, maybe Mrs. Weasley said it, but either way, yeah, he broke the spell of protection. Wait, no, he didn't break the spell of protection because he still showed up. All he has to do is go there for the summer for a little while, and then he can leave. That's why he can. He has to return to the house, and then he goes to like the Weasleys on many occasions. So yeah, that's not a plot hole.
Yeah, he does not. Yeah, he doesn't break the spell of protection.
The other schools informed of the battle, they could join and would sure help in numbers. Again, it's just like,
There was no time.
well, no, they could apparate. I feel like they could get there pretty quickly.
I mean, maybe the international community would not have wanted to bother. It's a UK problem. I mean, maybe parts of the international wizarding community would have sided with Voldemort.
I mean, I guess, yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at.
And no, you can't apparate over water.
Is yeah, but the E. I mean, yeah, I guess.
Also, the further
What
you
about what
go,
if there's a bridge?
the further you go, the harder it is to accurately apparate. Like if you're going from London to Munich, that's a really far, far, far distance to go. You can't guarantee you're not going to end up in the middle of a building or
Is that
something.
why they have port keys? Port keys are more accurate.
Yeah, I would think so.
Can you travel over water with a port key?
I don't know. Okay, Melanie, I got you.
But yeah, I'm.
You have to be connected to another flu network, though. Is there an international flu network? We don't know. Is the flu network only in the UK? Maybe it is.
And I mean, I guess I'm surprised. Like
Yeah, even Dumbledore would rather use Thestrals for long distance travel than apparating. That's how unreliable it is.
the magical world doesn't have any theaters or movie halls. I mean, they might.
They do. They have bands.
Yeah. So they have to have theaters for them to play in. Concert halls. They're breaking the curse early by leaving. So he's leaving the premises. So he's no longer protected at the house. They're not like breaking the curse or breaking the charm.
All that they're doing is breaking the protection that Dumbledore placed on the house. That's it. That's all they're breaking. They're breaking the magic that Dumbledore placed on the house.
Yeah, but
That's
he's
all they're
saying
breaking.
it's because he left. But it's not. It doesn't break it. Break is a bad word. They're leaving the protection of the house. They say break early because it was his 17th birthday and they left early.
Yeah.
And because he was going to hit 17, turning 17 was going to break the curse.
Yeah.
So I see how the wording is difficult, but no, they are not actually breaking it. They're breaking out of it.
Yeah, but the cave isn't like super far away though.
Dumbledore and Harry separated to the cave.
Apparated
Oh,
to the cave.
yeah.
Like the cave isn't like as far away as like say Madame Maxime and Hagrid would have to go to find the giants. And also Dumbledore knew that location very, very well. It's much easier to apparate someplace that you know very well and can vividly picture in your mind. And it's not too far away.
I guess apparition could be a plot hole because it's like
It's
it's really hard to apparate this long distance unless you really, really know.
I don't think the cave is that far away.
No, I don't think so either. I mean,
I
it's
really think it's pretty close. That's
it's
the
still
point.
within the
Because
UK,
I would
at least.
imagine Tom Riddle returns to the cave while he's at Hogwarts.
Yeah, it's true.
So I don't think it's that far away.
Uh,
Okay, you can.
oh, we can. I was just gonna answer this. No, because he had the protection all year long as he was intending on returning. Yeah, but when he turns 17, that protection is broken. So
Yeah,
that's why the
spell is broken. That's why they leave early.
yeah. So they left the protection early because it was gonna break when he turned 17. He doesn't have the protection all year long. He has the protection while he's there at the house,
Till he turns 17.
and he has the protection at Hogwarts. In between the house and Hogwarts, it's fair game.
Yeah.
Like, so they could have like jumped him on the Hogwarts Express. Really, I mean, well, there's actually probably some protection on there, but on his way to the train station, they could have jumped him.
Dylan, I think we did. We got all the big ones.
Yeah. So there's some where I don't think there's enough info, and you could kind of swing it as a plot hole, but there's no real.
That's what I think, Melanie. That's actually a good point. TV is definitely very much a muggle thing and would be hard to replicate without electricity.
And why do they have to make TV? They already have like moving pictures and everything else.
Yeah, they
so
have
it's
moving
like,
paintings and they have moving photographs and all of that. You could do things like that. And I'm sure they have theater. We just don't see
well,
it.
yeah, they have concerts and stuff, so I'm sure they have concert halls. They have all this stuff.
I'm sure they do plays and things.
Mhm.
Because they have books, so you know they have plays.
Yeah.
There's actually a story on Pottermore about Rowling writes like why there's no school theater program at Hogwarts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end on that. How about you give us some insight
So
into
apparently
that?
there was an attempt at a theater program at Hogwarts, and a professor and all the students tried to put on this play, and pretty much it ended up with everyone setting things on fire and chaos, and it was just ended up being very dangerous. And they were like, we can't do this again. So no theater at Hogwarts.
All right, because this is quick. Rowling states that paintings are just imprints of the person, thus cannot offer anything wise. Then how is Dumbledore's portrait able to speak so damn wisely? Because it imprints what type of person he is. Like the artist magically puts in to the painting. Well, you can explain better.
Also, the more time a living person spends with their painting, the more that painting takes on the aspects of their personality. So, Dumbledore would have had the painting painted quite a while ago and would have spent a good amount of time talking with it, so that by the time he did pass away, the painting was a pretty solid impression of him. It all depends on how much time you spend with your portrait.
All right. There, no, the cave wasn't an island just offshore. Pretty sure it was still on the mainland.
It's on the mainland, like on a rock face. Like they jump into the water. Yeah, I don't think it's on an island. It's like on the mainland.
All right.
Right. He could have had up to a year to like chit chat with that portrait. But yes, we do have to wrap it up because I have. She's very hungry.
Okay. But this was good. I think we covered everything.
Yes, this was awesome. You guys all had really great input. This was a lot of really fun conversation and discussion. Um, and we look forward to the next stream.
Yes. We'll be streaming again tomorrow where
Yes.
we'll be talking about our favorite chapters from each book.
Yes.
So, see you then.
See you tomorrow where we're going to discuss that.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.